Hey, everybody. Trying a little thing this morning. Um, I'm home with the I'm home with the kids today. The wife's out of town, and you can see me struggling. so, we're just trying to get the live set up. It seems like my audio. I'm trying to get my Bluetooth so that I could also prep some breakfast for my. Some of you can hear me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Sound good.
All right. Let me try. See if I put it. All right. You can't hear me, right? That's gone
I
off.
can hear. No, it's working.
Yeah, it seems like you can hear me, but I can't for some reason here. Let me see. It seems like for some reason I can't hear through my Bluetooth. So my Bluetooth isn't working. All right. So I will just do it without my Bluetooth. And I'll just put it on speaker. Cool. So this morning we wanted to talk about, what we think's a topic that a lot of people. One second, let me get this in here. A topic that, here we go. Yeah, we want to talk about a topic that I think a lot of people deal with, and it has to do with love and commitment. And when I talk about love and commitment, I mean it from the perspective that you are, that sometimes it's so hard to do things, to commit to things that you don't feel like you love. And we were having a conversation the other day, Rich, with some colleagues about even trying to define the concept of love, both from a relationship perspective and other perspectives. So it's interesting because there's a lot of emotion that go with some things that we want to do in our lives, right? If you want to achieve something, oftentimes people feel like you have to be pulled and you have to have a wave of emotions that go with it. But we also know that there are a lot of things in life that are generally good for us that we don't feel like we should be doing. We don't feel like eating certain things. And so there's a lack of emotion on the other side. But we have to then make a conscious decision, right? A sort of a decision of will, just willpower, to go against this idea of what we feel, right? In order to push through, right? To achieve something else. So this conversation is about what's the right balance there between how we feel and how do we manage those emotions, Rich, and the things that we commit to, because it's hard to commit to everything you quote unquote love, and it's hard to love everything you commit to. Right? So what's the middle there, man? You're a committed guy to a lot of things. You seem to almost love everything you do. So you could help me out here, man. Help me out as I make some grilled cheese sandwich for Dada.
No, this is a great topic, great conversation. Good morning, everybody. It's a good question. I think I, I think if you take a step back and you know there's a theoretical perspective to life, and then there's like real life, right? And
Right.
when we were younger, we had a lot of fairy tales that we read. We had a lot of big, bold dreams and hopes for our lives, and how exciting it would be as we grow up.
Yeah.
Then we grow up, right? And then we become adults. We're in school, we're liking school, but we're not loving school. We want to go out and make our own money, right? We want to be our own person. I want to call the shots at home.
Right.
Um, and then you get out there and you realize that's not so much fun, right? So I think there's this constant sort of journey between the idealistic view of life and the reality of it,
Right.
and then of course you hear all these beautiful quotes. When you find what you love, you stop working, right? You never work a day in your life because you love it. And most of our, I think the core of our adult journey for many people, I think is our jobs and our careers, right? And so because we spend a significant amount of time of our daylight hours at a job,
Right.
so we tend to think that we start there, right? I should be really passionate about my work. But then you start to work, you're a low-level employee, right? You're doing menial tasks, right? It's hard to be passionate about cleaning the toilet at Starbucks or, filing away papers or doing photocopies or making coffee for your boss. There's nothing exciting about that. You don't feel like that's your passion, right?
Right.
So then you go and search, right? You search for your passion and you search for the thing that you think is the thing you were supposed to be doing, the meaning you were supposed to bring to the world, your gift, right? We hear a lot about that. Everybody's got a gift and a unique gift. The thing is, I think a lot of things, and I'm thinking about this as I talk, but I think a lot of, if I reflect on my own life, a lot of the greatest moments, right? Like a singular moment, which I think is for the most part how life is measured. The work that went into creating that singular moment was boring, unattractive, and lengthy, right? So I think about like studying for exams, right? You study months or whatever, right? You write an exam, you get the results, and it's like, wow, yes, I passed,
Yeah.
right? There's that exhilaration of the moment, but the moment fades pretty quickly, right? If I run a race, I've got to train for that race for months. I've got to wake up, go out in the cold, layer up when it's dark and cold outside, and I've got to go run. And then I run the race on the race day. I'm not winning a medal or anything. I'm not getting placed in this race, but I'm excited at the end, right? But I suffered through the entire race. And so none of it is there's all this work that leads up to this moment that I really appreciate that I had the opportunity to experience, but the work is unattractive, right? And so I don't know whether or not I'm passionate about anything. I just know that I'm grateful and being grateful, as well as being connected to, as well as my efforts being connected to something better than I am today going into the future, allows me at least the perspective to be passionate. And one thing I'll say before handing back over to you, because I know you're more passionate than I am about many things, but I think passion is something that is discovered through a lot of laboring, a lot of experimentation to some degree, an accumulation of a journey. And so I don't know it's something that people necessarily find in the early stages of their lives. I think you could sense that you love something and you're naturally, moving towards it. And you can accumulate little bits and pieces of experience and you can fuel that.
Right.
But I don't know that you necessarily wake up one day and you find it and you find yourself in the right place. I think you can certainly seek it, but at the same time, I think some of these things show up much later on in life as you're willing to sort of go through the journey of, accumulating the little boring pieces of experience and exposure, that you find something that you're passionate about. But I don't know that it's a singular thing either, but tell me.
It sounds like you were describing a relationship, right? How they talk about that first time you meet, the person you fall for, and I think a lot of people, I think we live in a time when, especially when you grow up with a lot of fairy tales, we sort of fall in love with the idea of somebody falling in love, or we fall in love with the idea of sort of celebrating the fact that we feel good about things, because I think there's a desire deep down in a lot of us that we want to feel led, right? we want to feel like we're within the will of God, right? We want to feel like we're within the will of, whatever it is that we hold to be sort of supreme in the world, in the universe. And we feel like if something is in control of our lives in that sense, not us, because we feel unqualified, that if we're driven by something else, then there's this comfort that comes with, I am fulfilling my actual purpose in life because I don't know why. And it's hard sometimes to make a decision, because then you have to live up to the consequences of the decisions, right, that you make. And you have to sort of take on that role that I made this choice and I must live by the consequences. And I'm doing the things I want. And that's a challenge for some people, because most of us are raised to believe that we ought to give that over to someone else, right? And so it's difficult to relinquish this feeling that I need to make a conscious choice on things. So when we feel drawn, I think when we feel drawn to a person, we feel like we're being led, right? When we feel drawn to a job or an activity, we feel like we're being led to it. And it's that feeling of being led that many of us want to feel. Like we want to have the conversation where we said, it was God who did this to me. It was God who led me into this place, right? I don't know why. And so we want to remove ourselves from the equation, because we want to feel it. And a big part of feeling led is feeling, right? Is feeling. It's feeling like something else is doing it. Something else is drawing me to this person, to this job, to this thing, that there is some greater meaning, some greater purpose in it. And that's fine. I'm not putting it aside. But I say at the same time, how then do you handle the situations where you don't feel like it? So like you said, you come on the job, and when that initial feeling of excitement goes away, do you just quit and walk off the job? As a matter of fact, some people do. The job's not doing it for me anymore, right? And they walk off the job. Or you get into a relationship and that initial honeymoon feeling goes away, and you wake up the next day and you look over. I remember my old pastor might tell me a story about this guy who married a girl, and she used to sing real beautifully and had a lot of makeup. The story goes. Not meaning to put women down here at all, but he gets married, and the next day he wakes up next to her, and she takes off all the makeup and everything, and she's not what he had imagined. So he closes his eyes and says, "Sing, baby, sing." You know what I mean? It's like, let's rekindle what I first fell in love with, sort of thing. Because now you're at the commitment stage, and now is it about feeling? And I think that's really the big question: is how do you now move on and deal with things, right? Do we always have to depend on the way we feel? And so I think that's what I'm talking about, right? So for me, of course, I think that there are a lot of things. I don't really have an answer, but I know there's a lot of things in life where you can't live by the way you feel, right? That sometimes, a lot of times, we have to put aside how we feel. For you, I don't know what it would be, and for somebody else, I don't know what it might be. I know that there are obvious situations in life where we can't live by the way we feel, because feelings are often temporal, right? They're often temporary, and a lot of times, and you've talked about this, is when the commitment overrides the short-term sort of feeling and emotion, you can generate and create a whole new wave of emotion, right? That just come from being committed to something, right? And I think of an analogy for like the gym, right? If you nobody wants to go to the gym and work out and hurt themselves, right? Like that's a hard thing to do. But if you push through in a committed way to something like that, then ultimately you're able to reap the benefit and feel a whole new way about your life and what you're able to accomplish, right? Even going through college and studying, and it's very difficult. Sometimes you just don't want to finish, right? You want to quit. You want to give up on a relationship. You want to give up on so many things, but you push through anyway, regardless of how it feels. And on the backside of it, right, on the other side, when you come out, you feel a sense of emotion, right? That's very different than you had when you were going through it. And so there's this sort of delayed gratification that you have to sort of cultivate in order to say, look, I'm going to stay committed to the task and to what I've set out to do, because the so-called feeling, the reward of that is coming later, right? I'll pause there as I slice some apples.
No, so that's the feelings are certainly they come from different places, right? You can sometimes, I think, see the way somebody else is living their life and feel like you wanna you wanna live your life that way,
Mhm.
and so you have these feelings, right? It's like, oh, I really want to be able to do X, Y, and Z, and then feelings can come from sort of all kinds of different things, right?
Stuff in the oven.
And and then you can generate some of those, right? So people often say sometimes, well,
Made me burn my
when I
sandwich, boy. I gotta make a whole new one.
when I wake up in the morning, so multitasking is a difficult thing.
Yeah, I know. But let's go. Let's go. This is fun.
Yeah, when I wake up in the morning and I don't feel very energetic, and you can live your entire day in that sort of mode. I gotta wake up. It's Monday.
Right.
Screw Mondays, all the normal stuff. Or you can wake up and be like, this is a new day. I get to be alive. I can do some jumping jacks. I can lay out all the things that I'm working towards, all the things that I'm grateful for. And then I can sort of think about how all those emotions create me, right? And how I enjoy life. And so in one, you're sort of, I think, being proactive, right? You're creating the emotions that you need to do the things you want to do to create the life you want. And then is one is it's reactive, right? As you said, like we want to be able to sort of almost like not take personal responsibility
Yeah.
for what we're having and what we're achieving in life. And so we tend to sort of go with our emotions, and I never like build a discipline, right? So discipline is a great word if you think about it, right? Discipline is the thing that you you sort of commit to something that feels uncomfortable and you don't like very much for a long period of time until it becomes sort of a habit, right? So you
Yep.
you work towards building discipline so that then you could create habits in your life, which are things that you do naturally. And they're not necessarily like I run, for example. Most people don't like running. I get it, right? I wouldn't necessarily say that I love running all my life, or in every run I love every second of the run. There are moments in the run where it's painful. There's some that's hurting. I feel something weird, but I've learned to sort of endure that pain because I know the feeling that comes at the end, right? And so,
Right.
um, the going through the if I were to just give in to my emotions and say, well, I'm not really passionate, I'm not loving this run, then I'd never run. Right?
Yeah.
And then
Absolutely.
I would never get the benefits from running, right? And so
Right.
I think I agree with you. We can't necessarily just wake up and be slaves to our emotions, but I also think that we can create emotions by certain actions, right? And how we wake up and embrace the day and the plan that we have for it. And a big belief of mine, because to answer the question of whether or not I find the thing that I'm most passionate about and I do it every day, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
but I think the best thing that I've appreciated about sort of figuring my own life out is the understanding that the things that I do, whether it's exciting in the moment or not, whether it's comfortable or uncomfortable, is connected to something bigger down the road, right? And if it
Yep.
is, then I'm going to do the work, right? Even if I don't get to see all the fruits of the work, it's not just about me. It's about this wider world that I get to be part of.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know what the the answer is. Maybe some people have found their passion, and there's a process. I do think like feeling good about what you're doing should be part of life. I'm not saying that
Yeah.
you should wake
Exactly.
up every day and dread life, but I'm an accountant. I don't know that that's something that I dreamt to be passionate about, but I love my job. It allows me the opportunity to do a lot of things. But I'm passionate about just sort of growth.
Yeah.
And so I will talk about that as much as I can. I will learn about it as much as I can, but oftentimes in the most boring ways, right? You sit
Yeah.
down to read a book, or if you
I
have a
think.
conversation with somebody that has zero interest in putting in the work, it's boring, unattractive stuff. But it's what I feel that I enjoy a lot. So
I think I'll say this on the outgo. I think that our emotions are programmable, right? I think you can over time create the thing that you like, that you want to like. Like you can make yourself like things. You can actually make yourself like people. I think
that's
what's
why arranged
interesting.
marriages work.
That's right. That's right. I would say that I have always find that love and commitment. When you look at love and commitment, I think the commitment is to me is the real love, right? There's a scripture that God says, "If you love me, keep my commandments." And I like to joke with people and say, God say, "If you love me, feel good, jump high and down, like get a wave of emotion." Nothing like that. He says, look, it's simple obedience, it's simple commitment. Commit to the path, a prescribed prescribed path, and that's it. That's how love is defined in a very simple way. To the point where there's this idea of greater love and lesser love, right? It says this is Easter time, so it talks about greater love at no man, and this other man who lays down his life for his friend. It's a willing commitment, because you can lay down your life with people like soldiers that you don't even know, right? And that's a huge commitment to make without necessarily feeling something for a particular individual. But you could be driven based on principles and values, right? To commit to something, and that's where you have trained yourself to derive that joy from. So I think I don't think we talk enough about that strong kind of commitment. I think we are driven largely by, again, going back to this idea of just feeling. And I think we've got to find the right balance, because there's nothing wrong with feeling, but we've got to be able to examine those feelings, because we can't live by our feelings, right? We've got to live by our commitment. We've got to make conscious decisions about the things that we commit to in order to succeed. So that's what I'll say my way out. As I just succeeded at this language.
Great. There you go. You can do two things at the same time. The last thing I'll say before I say bye as well is like the feelings are, if you chase the feelings all the time, then I think you experience maybe very little joy. But even if you do, it doesn't, or happiness, but it doesn't last a long time. And I think the flip side of it, if you manage those emotions and you pursue something worthwhile, right? You stick to your values and you have some goals, then I think the joy and the happiness lasts a little bit longer, right? So it's like versus getting a little hit, or or being able to enjoy more things and for a longer period of time. But yeah, I mean, I would highly recommend we take charge of our emotions and understand that we can create the hype, right? We can get up and be like, let's do this, right?
We've got to discipline our emotions, right? Because we can't let our emotions run away with us, right? At the least.
That's right. But they serve good purpose, so we're not saying
definitely. Definitely. They can fuel commitment, right? They definitely can. It's easy to commit to something you feel good about. Really easy.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
All right, man.
All right.
Well,
yeah, but let's continue the conversation. I think it's a good thing, especially for some of the younger folks.
Yeah, definitely.
Who are always,
hey, you can also older folks now, aren't you?
That's true. I'm still trying to find my passion. So.
All right, buddy. Well,
all right,
guys, take it easy and expand the conversation. Happy Easter to you all. All right, and everybody had a chance to fly kite, but take care.
All right, take care.
All right, bye.